In this session, we will discuss about the Latin SQR design, which is abbreviated by LSD. When we discuss about the randomized complete block design, it is actually designed to reduce the residual error in an experiment by removing the variable due to non-controllable nuisance variable. It is like, now think about when we discuss about the RCBD design, then we had two types. One was the treatment and the next type we had was the blockings. Therefore, we had the treatments and we had the blockings. And we are considered the variable which is named as the nuisance variable as to make the blocks. Therefore, using this concept, we were able to reduce the residual error. But when we are going to deal with these experiments, but some situations we do not have just having these just one nuisance variable. Therefore, in such situation, you cannot definitely deal with the block designs. Therefore, for some situations, we will have some limitations, just like if you are testing some formulation as an example, if you are testing some formulation, then the cost that you have to spend or the cost that is taken to make such a formulation may be very high. Therefore, in such situations, due to the unavailability of the money or the material, sometimes they have to limit our treatments. Therefore, in such situations, we can say that Latin square design would be an appropriate experimental design to design such experiment. As an example, suppose that you need to study the effect of 5 different formulation of explosive mixture which is used to manufacture dynamite. And here we are observing the explosive force for these 5 different formulations. Therefore, this is what we need to identify effect of these 5 different formulation on the explosive force. But when we are going to manufacture these formulation, then these formulation, when we are manufacturing them, the raw materials may be coming through several batches. Therefore, here they are saying that this formulation is made from a batch of raw materials that is only large enough for 5 formulations to be tested. It is quite like this. Now think about if this is the raw material number raw material batch 1, then this is enough to just to obtain 5 formulations. And for the next 5 formulations, you have to take the second material batch. Therefore, to make if you consider a single material batch, then it would be definitely enough to obtain or manufacture 5 mixing formulations only. Therefore, when they are going to prepare this formulation, these formulations may be prepared by the several operators. Therefore, there will be substantial differences since the substantial differences of the skills and the experience of the operator. Then this formulation, we think that the formulation may be vary from one to another one. Therefore, the next thing is the operator. Operator is one variable we are considering, and next one is the material batch. Next one is the material batch. Okay. Therefore, in this case, now we see that since we just need to know about the effect of the formulation, therefore we can consider operator and batch as two nuisance factor. Therefore, we can say that it can be seen that there are two nuisance factor in designs. They are the batches of raw materials and the operator. We are saying it as the nuisance variable. It is because we just the presence of that variable would be important, but we are not going to test for such variables. It is because we just need to identify the effect of the formulation on the explosive force only. It is because in the RCBD also we just pay our attention towards the treatments only. We just tested for equal treatment means never we haven't check for this equal block means we haven't do such a thing. Therefore, in such situations, now think about if you are having one raw material batch, it can be just enough for 5 formulations. The second batch may be enough for another 5 formulation, and there are some operators also, and there will be different skill levels and the experience level of the operators. Therefore, I told you that we can use a Lattice design for such situations in the existence of two nuisance factor. Therefore, if you see about the data layout, therefore the data layout obtained is like this. Now you can see that in the batch of raw materials for the first batch, you can see that A is here, B is here, C is here, D is here, and E is here. Where these are the Latin letters we are using. We are using these Latin letters to denote the treatments. Therefore, in this example, it's given that 5 different formulation. Therefore, formulation is denoted by the Latin letter since it is our treatment. And here in the row wise, I have taken the batch of raw material, and in the column wise, I have considered the operator number. Therefore, we are saying that always Latin square design. In the name itself, we can see that it is a square arrangement, and we can see that treatments are denoted by Latin letters. Therefore, that is why we are saying this as the Latin square design. We are saying because of that we are saying it as the Latin square design. And we can say that again this Latin square design is used to eliminate two nuisance sources variability. Therefore, in the previous situation, we just had one block only. But here now you can see that it is quite like two blocks. Using of two blocks is can be said to be we are using this two nuisance factor. Therefore, now if you see about a single block in the row manner, now you can see if you consider the first block in the row wise. Therefore, in the first block, you can see that all the treatments were applied. A is there, B is there, C is there, D is there, and E is there. All the 5 formulations were applied for this first batch of raw materials. In the second batch also, you can see that B, C, D, E, and A. In the third batch, C, D, E, A, B. Therefore, if you consider a row-wise block, or else one nuisance factor, therefore, within that block, you can see that all the treatments were applied. And if you consider the blocks in the column wise also, here also you can see that all the treatments were applied inside a single block. If you see the first operator, that operator has made the formulation A, formulation B, formulation C, D, and E. For the second operator also, you can see that B, C, D, E, and A is there. For the third operator, C, D, E, A, B is there. Therefore, you can see that if you consider the blocks in the column wise also, you have applied the treatment exactly at one time. Therefore, like this way, you can use the using this proper randomization procedure. You can employ such operators to make the mixtures. Therefore, when you are writing this data, you can see that I have started it from just consider about whether it is row wise or column wise. For the easiness of calculation, I am considering column wise. Therefore, I can apply treatment A here, treatment B here, treatment C here, treatment D here, treatment E here. Therefore, then always use the next column using the second letter or the second row letter in the previous column. Therefore, I can start it from B. Then C, D, E, and ends up with A. Then if you go for the third column, then you can have the values started from the second row letter. It is C, D, E, A, B. Therefore, using this technique, you can easily apply these treatments in the randomized procedure. Therefore, here D, E, A, B, and C. Here you can see the second letter is E. Therefore, E, A, B, C, and D. Therefore, this is how these letters were assigned for the batches in the row wise as well as in the column wise. Therefore, if you check now with the row wise also, you have got the same results. The second letter has come to the first letter of the next row. Therefore, in a such way, you can apply the treatments also. Okay, and the important thing when you are using this Lattice design, the factors should have equal number of levels to use the Lattice design. Therefore, now you can see that here we had three factors. It is not the treatments; it is three factors we are having actually. First factor was uh, mixture number. It was the different mixture. First one was the mixture actually. This was our treatment. And second factor was the batch of raw material. Now the third factor was the operator. Now if you see about these levels, if you see the levels, how many levels in the mixture? We had 5 levels. It is because we have tested for 5 different mixtures and there were 5 batches of raw materials. Therefore, this value also equal to 5 and there were 5 operators also. Since it is also equal to 5, you can see that operator number is equal to 5. Now you can see that all the three factors are having the equal number of levels. Therefore, that is why we can say that we can apply this Lattice design. If the levels are not equal, then you cannot apply this Lattice design. Therefore, in such situation, we have to go for an alternative method. Now we will look about the statistical model for this Lattice design. The Lattice design is a completely additive model and there will not be any interaction terms. It is because we are not going to identify the interaction between operator and the raw material or the operator with the mixture or the the interaction between the raw material and the this mixture. Therefore, we are not going to apply or any um, interaction terms in the Lattice design. Therefore, it can be again said to be a totally additive model. Therefore, here you can see that model is denoted by Yijk equals mu plus alpha I plus tau j plus beta k plus epsilon ijk. Therefore, if you go through the interpretation of each term, you can say that Yijk is the observation in the ith row kth column for the j treatment. Here we are using the letter j to denote the treatment number, not the letter I. Okay, I is for row factor, k is for column factor, and j is for the treatment. Where mu is the overall mean, alpha is the effect due to I throw factor, then tau j is the effect due to j treatment, beta k is the effect due to kth column factor, where and epsilon ijk is the random error. And here also you can see that for ij and k, we have the same number of levels. It is from 1 to p, means that p number of levels are there. Okay, and we can use these equations to identify the effect of the raw material, the effects of the row factor, effect of the column factor, and the effect of the treatment. Therefore, we can use these equations to identify the effects of the row factor, effects of the treatment, and the effect of the column factor. And I told you that Lattice design is a completely additive model and we are not going to consider any interaction terms. Therefore, this is the assumption that we are making for Lattice design, one major assumption. Here we have to say that row block and treatment effects are completely additive and there will not be any interactions between row blocks and the treatment. Therefore, based on this assumption, we are saying that LSD or the Lattice design is a completely additive model. Therefore, we do not need to add any interaction terms here completely. It is given as additive model. And now we will look about the hypothesis testing. Here also we are just testing this hypothesis for the treatments only. We are not going to test it for column factors or the row factors. Therefore, the hypothesis will be mu1 equals mu2 equals mu3 equals mu p, since we had the p number of treatments, and alternative would be at least one treatment mean is differ from others, or else you can write it as the treatment effects. On the treatment effects equals 0, at least one treatment effect is differ from 0. Therefore, using one of these methods, you can construct the hypothesis, and here also you are using the analysis of variance or ANOVA technique to test this hypothesis. Now we will look how we can construct the ANOVA table if we are dealing with this Latin square design. Okay, when we are dealing with the Latin square design, here we had actually three factors. One is for treatment, one is for row, one is for column. And when we are constructing the ANOVA table, we have to include all those three factors, and then error would be there and the total would be there. Since we had p number of treatments, p number of rows, and p number of columns, the degrees of freedom of the first of these three factors would be p minus 1. For the treatment, degrees would be p minus 1. For the rows, again p minus 1. For the columns also, we are having the degrees of freedom as p minus 1. And for the total, we are taking it as p squared minus 1. It is because if you see about this example, how many data points you are having? It is 5 into 5. There were not 5 into 5 into 5. Even though we had three factors, we are having 5 into 5 number of data points. Therefore, if you are having p number of rows and p number of rows and p number of columns, therefore altogether we are having p squared number of observation. Therefore, if you consider the total, the degrees of freedom would be equal to p squared minus 1. And if you subtract the addition of these three p minus 1s from p squared minus 1, then you can get the error degrees of freedom as p minus 2 into p minus 1. Therefore, if you need, you can use this quantity, or else you can just subtract the addition of these three values from this p squared minus 1. And we are using these notations to denote some treatment sum of squares, row sum of squares, column sum of squares, error sum of squares, and total sum of squares. And dividing this sum of squares by the degrees of freedom, we are able to obtain the mean square value. Therefore, this is how we are obtaining mean square treatment, mean square row, mean square column, and mean square error. Since we need to identify, or we need to check for the treatments, here we can obtain the F ratio for the treatment. It is obtained by MS treatment has to be divided by the mean square error. Therefore, using this F ratio, you can test for this hypothesis whether the H naught is rejected or we are failed to reject H naught. And when you are going to construct this ANOVA table, these are the useful formula. Here also, we are saying the total number of observation, which is denoted by N, is equal to P squared, where P is the number of levels in the factor. And correction factor is again obtained as the previous way. It is the grand mean square divided by the grand total square divided by the number of observations. And if you need to obtain this SS treatment, it means it's a treatment sum of squares. What you are going to do is, first of all, you are taking the treatment totals individually, and we have to square the treatment totals, and then you have to sum up them, and you have to divide it by the p number p. It is the number of levels in each factor, and then correction factor is reduced from this quantity. And if you take this SS row, here also we are taking the row sum, and then square it and sum it, then divide it by p, then subtract this correction factor. For the columns, then column totals has to be obtained, then you have to square it and get the summation and divide it by p, and then subtract the correction factor. And to obtain this SS error, SSE, what you have to do is you have to subtract SSTR, SSO, and SS column values from this SS total value. And to obtain the SS total value, what you have to do is you have to square each and every observation in the data set, and then you have to square it. Then you have to take the summation. Since you are taking the squared term summation of each and every observation, that is what I have mentioned this as I is going from 1 to p, j is from 1 to p, and k is from 1 to p. And then the correction factor is subtracted from this quantity to obtain the total sum of squares. Okay, this is the example that we have discussed previously also, and I will use these values to discuss some calculations regarding this Latin square design. Okay, in this example, it is again, if I brief about this, here we need to test for the whether these 5 different formulations having the equal explosive force or not. It means we need to test whether there is any treatment effect from the formulation, and when we are preparing the formulation, we have to pay our attention on two nuisance factor. The operator would be one, and the next one would be the batch of raw materials. Therefore, using a proper experiment, we have obtained these values, and the data layout that we have obtained for Latin square design is this. Now in the first part, they are asking us to construct the ANOVA table, and then asked to write down the appropriate hypothesis, and they are asked to test the hypothesis using the ANOVA table at 5% significance level. Okay, now we will see about the solution for this problem. If you see about the three factors, you can have these three factors as first one would be definitely treatment. It is the formulation we are having, and next one would be row factor, one would be column factor. You can interchange the row and column factors if you need, but you cannot. Definitely you have to consider formulation as the treatment. It is because what we need to test is the formulation. Since we need to test for formulation, definitely our treatment should be the formulation. Therefore, and the next important thing is to denote the treatments, we are using the letter J, and for rows we are using letter I. To denote columns, we are using this letter K. Therefore, I have identified rows as the batch of raw materials. There are 5 batches, and for the columns, I have used this operator number. Since there are 5 operators, then columns are also from 1 to 5. Now, what you have to do is, this is the data set that you are having. Therefore, you have to take the row totals and the column totals at the initially. Therefore, if you see this column here, yi double dot is stands for the ith row total. Therefore, this 111 is obtained from getting summation of these first row values. It is 24 plus 20 plus 19 plus 24 plus 24 gives the summation as 111. This 134 is obtained by taking the sum of the values in the second row. Therefore, likewise, I have taken the summation for the all 5 rows. Then in the next column, these are the values that I have taken from squaring these values. Therefore, if you squared 111, then the value would be 12,321. Squared term of this 134 would be 17,956. Therefore, likewise, squaring these totals, I have obtained this yi double dot squared values. It is because these values are used for our calculation. And in the next column, I am taking the summation of the squared terms. It is quite like this. This 2489 is obtained using what I have done here is I have taken the square term of 24 plus square term of 20 plus square term of 90 plus square term of 24 plus square term of 24. It means that I have squared the single term and then added those values together. That is how I have obtained 2489, and I have to take this for all the rows. It is because you can do it in the row wise or column wise. Anyhow, one way is quite enough. Since I have considered rows, I have obtained this as yijk, and these values will be helpful if you are going to identify the value for total sum of scarcities, because we need the summation of yijk square terms. Okay, now after finishing these three columns, then I will come up to these two rows. This row contains the column totals. The notation is y double dot k. It is the kth column total. Therefore, I have added the first column total, first column values, then obtain it as 107. For the second column, 143 obtain. For the third column, 121 was obtained. Likewise, for all the five operators, the column totals were obtained, and this value is for the grand total. It is the total of these five values, or the total of these five values. It should be same. Therefore, I have obtained the grand total as 635. In the next row, you can see that these are the square term of the totals. Therefore, the square term of 107, 11,449, square term of 143, 20,449. Likewise, the square term of these column totals are obtained in the next row. And so far we have obtained the row totals and the column totals, and thereafter what we need to do is we have to take the treatment totals. Treatment totals means here we had five treatments A, B, C, and C, D, and E. Therefore, we have to prepare a separate table to obtain this column, obtain this treatment totals. Therefore, since the treatment is denoted by the Latin letter A, B, C, D, and E, we have to take the treatment totals. Therefore, if I take the how to get this 143 is, what you have to do is, first of all you have to identify all the places where we can see this letter A. Here we can have this letter A. Here we can see letter A. Here we can see letter A. Here letter A. Here we can see letter. Therefore, now what you have to do is, first of all, you have to add these five values together: 24, 30, 26, 27, and 36. That is how we have obtained this 143. Therefore, likewise, if you going for the next value, it is the value B. Then you have to identify this value B here. You can see it here. Then you can see it here, here, and here. Therefore, you have to add these five values to obtain the treatment totals for the mixture B. Likewise, you have to add the you have to get the values for the treatment totals for all the five treatments, and this treatment total is denoted by y dot j dot. It is the j treatment total, and then you have to square these values to get a quantity for y dot j dot square term. It's because we need these quantities for the calculation. Okay, now we have obtained the totals which may useful for the calculation. Now what you have to do first is you have to obtain this correction factor. To obtain the correction factor, what we have to do is we have to square the grand total, and we have to divide it by the p squared, or else we can see, or else here the CF was given as y square, grand total square divided by capital N. Since capital N is equals to P squared, I have directly used the term P squared here. I have used the P squared term here, or else you can use it as N. N is also equal to 25, where N is equal to P squared. Therefore, since we have already obtained this grand total as 635, definitely directly you can square it and divide it by 25. Therefore, the correction factor was obtained as 16,129. And thereafter, what we can do is we can have this SS total. When we are getting this SS total, what we have to do is we have to get the summation of or the square term of observations. It is yijk squared minus the correction factor. It is the square term of all these values minus the correction factor. To obtain these values, what you can do is you can square each term, each and every term, and then you can add them, or else you can simply get the summation of this last column. Now, these are the values that you have obtained for each row. Therefore, you can simply get the summation of these values. Then the summation of these five values would be now equal to 16,805, and once you subtract the correction factor from this, then you will get the total sum of square as the 676. Then we have to obtain the value for treatment sum of squares. To obtain the treatment sum of square, what you have to do, you have to sum up the values with square terms of the values which we have obtained for the column totals, which we have obtained for the Latin letters, since they are the treatments. Therefore, these are the values we have obtained, square terms of the treatment totals, and you have to add those values together and then divide it by the number of levels. Always, this P is the number of levels we are having. Then this minus the correction factor gives the treatment sum of square as the 330. Then we can have this as SS row. We can have the next one is for the row sum of squares. Therefore, what you can do is first of all you have to take the row sums, and then square terms are here. You have to add the square terms of the row sums and divide it by the number of levels. Then subtract this correction factor. That is how we are getting row sum of squares as this 60. Thereafter, we have to go move for the columns. Then to obtain the SS column, you have to take the square term of the summation of columns, then add those values together, then divide it by the number of levels and subtract the correction factor. Therefore, you can see the column sum of the square as the 150. Since you have identified total, treatment, row and column, then you can easily get the value for error sum of the squares. What you have to do is you have to subtract the SSTR, SS row and SS column from this SS total value. This is the um, sum of squares of this treatment, row and column is subtracted from the total sum of squares. Therefore, you can see that SS error is equal to 120. Therefore, when you do the calculation, you cannot have the negative values in the ANOVA table. If you have negative values means, then uh, the calculation have you have mm, the calculation is having some errors. Therefore, you can check your calculation. All the values should be non-negative values. Therefore, this is the ANOVA table that I am getting. We have calculated these values 330, 68, 150, 128 and 676. Since we had the 5 levels for the treatment row and column, we are getting the degrees of freedom as 5 minus 1, which gives the value as 4. Then total, it is p squared minus 1. It means 20, p is 5, p squared 25 minus 1 gives you the value as 24. Then once you subtract the summation of these three values from 24, definitely you are getting it as 12. Or else you can use the equation p minus 2 p minus 2 into p minus 1 if you need. Therefore, even though you are using it, you are getting the same answer. It is 5 minus 2 into 5 minus 1. It is 3 into 4 gives you the value as 12. Once you are having this SS values at degrees of freedom, you have to take the you have to divide this SS value by degrees of freedom to obtain this mean square value. Therefore, this is for the mean square treatment, mean square rows, mean square column, and this is the mean square error. After obtaining these mean square values, what you have to do is you have to take the ratio between this mean square treatment and the mean square error to obtain this. You have to take the ratio. Then this gives the value as 7.732, 82.50 divided by 10.67. 10.67 gives you the value as 7.732. Therefore, this can be considered as the calculated F value. Now we'll see it is the first part of this calculation. You are asked to obtain an ANOVA table, and in the next part you are asked to test for the appropriate hypothesis. In here we just need to know whether all the mixtures are same or not. It means that we are testing for the mean value for mixtures are same for all these five mixtures. Therefore I am testing it with mu A equals mu B up to mu E. All the five treatment means are equal versus at least one treatment mean is differ from other. Therefore, this is the calculated we are having, and now we have to test for the we have to check for the table value. If you see about this ANOVA table, this is the degrees of freedom associated with treatment, and this is the degrees of freedom associated with the error. Therefore, to calculate the F ratio also you have considered the treatment and the error only. Therefore, to identify the table value also we are considering the degrees of freedom of treatment and the error only. Therefore, you can see that this is how why we are getting F4 12 0.05. Therefore, it is because here we had degrees of freedom in treatment as 4, degrees of freedom in error as well at the 5% significant level. This is the value of alpha. Value of alpha 0.05. Therefore, if you refer the annexure 1, which is our F table, we have to test for F4 to F. Therefore, if you see the appropriate column and row, here this is the value 4 we are having, and here this is the value for 2. Now you can see the value, the appropriate value for this is now equal to 3.2592. The value is 3.2592. Then we can write it as the table value, and then what you have to do is you have to compare these two values. If you are going to compare these, then this would be the shape of the F distribution, and here the table value may be somewhat here, table value may be somewhat here, it is 3.2592, and since the table value is here, you can see that this would be the rejection region, this would be the rejection region. Therefore, if the calculated value falls into this rejection region, definitely we have to reject the null hypothesis. Therefore, if you see about the calculated value is somewhat here. It is the value is 7.732. Therefore, we can say that since the calculated value falls into the rejection region, it is because since the calculated value is greater than this critical value, then H, we can say that H naught is rejected under 5% significance level. Therefore, it can be concluded that there is a significant effect from the formulation on the explosive force at the 5% significance level. Therefore, at the end you have to give this interpretation accordingly. Therefore, according to the problem or according to the research question or this experiment question, you have to make the interpret. Here we have tested for we need to test it for whether there is any effect from the formulation on the explosive force. Therefore, we have to include it in our interpretation also. And this is one exercise that you can try for it, which you can try for it. Here in this exercise it says that the present of two analysts, three analysts and three operators were there, and it is foreign, these are just the foreign additives. Therefore it is for the brands of jam. Therefore there were three different operators, the three types of jams A, B, C and C. Three different operators were used and three additives were used. Therefore, here you are asked to identify the suitable design of experiment, and you have to mention the statistical model, and you can construct the ANOVA table, and you can test for the appropriate hypothesis testing. And thank you for joining with this session.